What's up, gays, straights, and other days? It's Mally. I'm back with another episode of A Summer's End. And oh my goodness, the night before. Wow, why are we waking up in Sam's room? Guess you'll have to watch the previous episode to find out if you haven't already. So let's just get into this. I woke up in Sam's room. It was a warm summer morning. A small metal fan was oscillating back and forth, blowing balmy air onto our sweaty bodies. I must have laid awake for an hour on Sam's bed. Sam's arms were languidly wrapped around me. Her long hair was tangled with my hair, and her legs were crossed with mine. I felt her slow breaths on my neck. She must be sound asleep. I tried to remain as still as possible as to not disturb her slumber. I listened to the sounds of the morning. It was quiet outside. I couldn't make out any noises or voices from neighboring apartments or from the street below. People seemed slow to get up this morning. I was left alone with the clarity of my own thoughts all the while Sam softly slept. It was dim inside Sam's room. As time passed by, the light of the sun eventually passed through the buildings unobstructed and penetrated through the apartment bedroom window. The morning light was not gentle. I felt Sam stirring from her sleep. Once she wakes, I would have to take my leave. What? Wait, cute, but also now I'm a little worried for you. Michelle? Michelle? Michelle, I like you. I know. I felt her embrace around me tighten. My chest felt pained. I had to fight back tears. I should not feel like this. I had to be stern for my own sake. What happened last night? It was a one-time thing. I knew in my heart that anything more between us was impossible. I already told Sam. She should know this too. Sam brushed back my hair. Her eyes met with mine. I could not let it be more than this. I had to push her away. You make me sad, but I also understand. I just hope that you don't do it forever. Sam, I have to go. Michelle. Please, Michelle. Please stay. We can spend the day together. Don't be quiet like this. Talk to me. I can't be like this with you. Sam, I just can't. Michelle. Please, Sam. Any more than this. We just can't. Michelle. I'm going to get dressed. I got out of her bed. I picked up my clothes that had been discarded in the haste the night prior. I kept my back towards Sam. I didn't want her to see my expression. Whatever she was thinking, I did not want to know either. I didn't know what had gotten over me last night. I'd never done such a thing with anyone. And I never thought I'd be a person who would. I'd always been reserved and a self-controlled person. I would always do my tasks accurately and diligently. No matter how tired I was, I would finish whatever task that was expected of me. I wasn't someone who would let myself be consumed by passion. I smoothed out my shirt before putting it on. It had been tangled with Sam's denim jacket that laid on the floor. In the right mind, I would never discard even a worn sock on the floor and let it get dirty. Why did I do such a thing with Sam? An answer floated up from my subconscious and lingered in my mind. I dared not to even have the thought be uttered. I was frightened by myself. I did something wrong. I did something shameful. I had to face my own wrongdoing and go. There was no possibility of anything working out between us beyond this one night. Sam had her thoughts and her own feelings. She lived her life the way she wanted to. And I had my own life to live as well. If I get caught up in her life any more than this, we would just hurt each other more. I wasn't compatible with her lifestyle, and she wasn't compatible with mine. There was no way out of this other than for me to leave. I had put on my shoes. I was about to take my leave. Sam stood at the door. I tried not to look into her eyes. I have to go back home now. Can I walk you out? Sam, it's okay. I can see myself out. Michelle. Sam, last night, it was something I didn't expect to happen. Michelle, I can't. I really can't. It can't be more than this. Michelle, Can we talk about it a bit more? Sam, just talking with you, I can't. Please don't ask anything more than this. It's impossible between us. I'm sorry, Sam. I'll be going now. Oy. It just makes me really sad to see someone just violently hate themselves that much, especially with that particular subject, because that was basically a lot of internalized homophobia. None of that fear, none of that anger was really pointed at Sam, it was pointed at herself. And it just makes me really sad, and it really shows how damaging some of the values we can be raised with can be. And I hope that we're not locked into an ending right now, because maybe I shouldn't want it, but I kind of want from this at the moment, from the way that I can see this going, what Lady in Mystery never quite really gave me, and that's for our lead character, in this case it would be Michelle, to realize that it's okay, that there's nothing wrong with her, that she's just a human person and she just so happens to enjoy women. Now, I don't know if it's exclusively women or if she's ever had an attraction to men, and that's fine either way, but I just want her to have that moment of clarity so that she can just hate herself a little less. Because it breaks my heart to see anyone really beat themselves up over something that is a part of who they are. Anyway, I took the flight of stairs out of the apartment building. Every step I took created a loud echo of my footsteps. It was as if the narrow stairwell was amplifying my shame to the entire building. I didn't like it, but I preferred this over being alone in the elevator. I couldn't stand still in an enclosed space and be left with my thoughts. I needed to keep moving. I stepped out onto the street. I wanted to get lost in the crowd, but I was alone on the street. It was exceptionally humid outside. Hongkong and a cloudy day looked so unfamiliar. Without the neon lights or the bright sunlight to create contrasts of color, the gray concrete building seemed all too glum and empty. I suppose it was still early on a Sunday. The crowds were not yet out. Sunday. It was a day with its own certain melancholy, neither like Monday nor Saturday. Sunday was a bookend to the work week hustle, but it was also the uncomfortable beginning of the next. I didn't like Sundays. I didn't like the things that were halfway between something else. I stood on the side of the street and waited for a taxi. I was getting antsy. It seemed like an eternity while I waited. I felt a sprinkle of water from something above. I looked up. The gray sky seemed all too low and heavy above me. It was suffocating. It felt out of place to be alone on a street so quiet like this. It was as if I had stepped out into a world that I no longer recognized. And I saw it in a shimmering flash of light. A white dragon appeared. His long body snaked through the dark clouds like ripples in the sky. He roared and fired his hot breath down from the heavens. I saw a taxi come my way. I better hurry home before I'm caught in a thunderstorm. I returned home in the afternoon. My shoes were scratched and dirtied. I'd come home looking like a mess. I'd once again left my blouse with Sam. I'd forgotten to grab it on my way out, but this time I had to treat it as a loss. There was no way I could go see her again. Mother? There was no answer. My mother appeared to be out. I felt relieved. I wanted to change and wash up before seeing her. On Sundays, she would usually attend church and then have tea with my extended family. I figured she might have gone out without me. I glanced around the kitchen. I noticed there had been food poured down the sink. My mother. She'd waited for me to come home last night. How long did she wait before she realized I wasn't going to come home for dinner? I had lied to her yesterday. I had lied to her the other night before. I didn't come home last night when I said I would be home early. I promised to have dinner with her, but I broke my promise. I'd done a terrible thing. Shangfeng Ha! My mother called out my full name with deliberate intensity. She peered out of her bedroom. Her eyes looked red and swollen as if she'd not slept the entire night prior. Mother. Where have you been all night? Who are you with? Why didn't you call me? I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance to call you. I met up with my friend, but one thing led to another. And then what? And I ended up making an overnight trip to Sai Kung. An overnight trip? It'll be the last time for me to see her, so she wanted to have a party before she left. I lied again. I don't know why it had to be like this when it came to anything related to Sam. Huh. What does that have to do with you? Well, she was moving to America. If she was leaving for America, why did you have to be gone overnight? It was a going away party. It went on very late. Anyway, I'm sorry for not telling you. Please don't be too upset. I'm not trying to be upset. I'm just worried about you. I know. You are still young. You should be careful. Careful? Of your reputation. I was married to your father and had you when I was your age. You won't get men of quality if you go looking for it in the wrong places. And you certainly won't find respect either. Huh? I'm not going to say anything more about whatever you did last night. I just want you to know that I'm disappointed in you. Mother, I'm leaving to meet your aunt. I already missed church and now I might be late to the opera because I was beside myself with endless worry waiting for you. How was I going to sleep soundly knowing you were out somewhere all night? I'm really sorry. You look dirty. You should get yourself cleaned up. I lied again to my mother. There was no way I could tell her the truth about what happened. She could never accept it. My mother always had a sharp tongue. She wields it like a blade with such pinpoint precision. Honestly, I'm terrified whenever she turns her judgment on me. Sam, you wouldn't be able to understand why it wouldn't work out between us. I'm not the kind of girl you think I am. The stars look close when you look at them with the naked eye. In reality, they are light years apart, an incomprehensible distance for any mortal being. The distance between me and Sam is too great. I cannot fathom how it will ever work out between us. And with the lives that we have as is, the distance between us will only become greater over time. I can't. I just can't. I can't let myself be lost in something so senseless, so meaningless. It was one night's indiscretion, not anything more. I worked so hard to build up the life that I have now. I couldn't let it be changed by something that was never supposed to happen anyway. I needed to prepare myself for tomorrow's workday. I had resolved to end my contact with Sam from the beginning. But somehow, despite my best intentions, things had gone completely against what I had originally sought out to do. I couldn't change what had already happened. It was a momentary lapse in judgment that I have to accept. All I could do at this point was to move on with my own life. I would start by taking a hot shower. After a long day of keeping myself busy, I threw myself onto my bed and shut my eyes tight. There was nothing else left to do other than to surrender my thoughts to the void. Try as I might, I couldn't fall asleep. My thoughts persisted to cycle back and forth between memory and regret. I wanted to turn my mind off. I didn't want to think about anything anymore. There was already enough on my mind to think about. To think about Sam, I couldn't. It pained me too much just to think about it. I wished for the long night to come to me soon. What? Rewind? Wait, huh? Wait. What? What just happened? Okay, when I saw the rewind icon show up, I thought like that was being like, okay, you've hit an ending now, time to rewind and go back and change some of your choices, but no, because we're back at the shoe store, but we're with Sam now. So I think we might be watching from her point of view. In which case, I know it's going to be another short one, but then I'm going to end it here so that we can keep this all contained. Because I feel like we're about to dive into Sam's perspective now, and I want to keep that as its own separate thing because I feel like that's super important, but holy hell. Okay, we haven't hit an ending yet, but we have hit a very, very angsty part. This is more of the angsty lesbian stuff that I'm used to, like more modern day stuff, more I can't do this, things like that. This is the common trope that I'm used to. However, that means that this can go one of two ways. One, it can go the common way and they break up and they're upset about it forever. Or two, and the one that I'm hoping for, and the one that this seems to be going towards because seems as if you're going back so that we can go forward. They have this little angsty interlude of some time apart and Michelle has time to think about her feelings and hopefully realizes that there's nothing wrong with her in the first place, and they end up together anyway through some, I guess, big grand dramatic gesture, because that's, let's face it, that's usually how these things go. And it's the rarer of the two, but it does happen, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I guess we'll have to find out next time. But thank you so much, whoever happens to be watching this. Remember, you are loved, you are valid, there's nothing wrong with you. And until next time, bye!